I'm going to tell you the truth about why Shedeur Sanders was not selected in the first round of the NFL draft, and we are grading every single draft pick, who got the steals, who are the winners, who are the losers. That's coming up next on The Big Lead. What is up, and welcome to The Big Lead, where we give you all the leading stories in sports in less than an hour. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. I've been covering football for over a decade, 24/7 sports, Bleach Report. I'm the host of the Locked On Rams podcast. I also do NFL radio for Westwood One. And if you're new to the channel, do me a huge favor. If you're an NFL fan, if you're a college football fan, if you like the draft, if you like recruiting, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and hit the like button. We're also doing a jersey giveaway. Comment Luka Magic down below so you're eligible for that. But let's get right into it. The NFL draft always gives you some surprises, always gives you some disappointments. And for Shedeur Sanders, last night was not what he had hoped for. He had a big party, was wearing his black leather jacket, had his chain on, had the watch, was saying legendary, was hoping to get drafted, and he wasn't. He was not picked. And the big question today is, why was he not picked? Is it because some of these off-the-field character issues that we've heard from anonymous sources where it looked like, okay, there's a lot of baggage with him. There's some diva in him. That his teammates didn't go to his birthday party. Things like that. He wore his hat backwards at the NFL Combine. I'm here to tell you that I don't think that had anything to do with why he wasn't drafted yesterday. The reason why Shedeur Sanders wasn't drafted yesterday was because NFL scouts did not view him as a first-round quarterback because there were a ton of teams that needed quarterbacks at the position that they were drafted. So once he wasn't drafted by the Steelers at 21, the odds of him getting picked were slim. And you look at Shedeur Sanders, the prospect. Let's just pretend his name is Shedeur Simmons, and his dad isn't Deion Sanders, and he doesn't drive the Phantom, and he's not a big NIL earner, and have the iced out watch, and all the great stuff that comes along with Shedeur Sanders, which I actually like. I like the mentality and the mindset of Shedeur Sanders. I am here for that. But if you look at him as just a pure prospect, does he meet the size test? Well, the answer is no. Not a big dude at 6'1", 212 pounds. And yes, you don't need to be a giant. You don't need to be this prototypical 6'4" quarterback to make it the NFL. Russell Wilson wasn't, Kyler Murray wasn't, Baker Mayfield wasn't. But all those guys did possess some special strengths to their game. Kyler Murray, speed, velocity on the throw. Russell Wilson, the deep ball, capability, the strength. Baker Mayfield, just accurate passer, big arm down the field, some escapability there. Well, Shedeur Sanders really doesn't have that kind of speed. And there have been questions about the strength of his arm. And you look at some of the advanced stats. I'm not here to say he's Drew Bledsoe and he's quicksand in the pocket, right? And he's running around with cinder blocks in his pocket. No, it's not like he's that slow or anything like that. But to be a quarterback in the NFL, you have to remember there's only 32 of those guys, and you need some special traits to be a top pick. And you look at some of these numbers. His pressure to sack rate was 20.1% last year. And in 2023, that was 25.1%. And his average time to throw, his triple T, time to throw, was exactly 3 seconds. That was tied for the 26th out of 156 qualifiers. So, look, if you are an elite athlete, then we're not having this conversation. Because you can improvise, you can get yards on the ground, you can forget about your time to throw, right? But Shedeur Sanders is not elite at those traits, right? Now, there are some things that are positive for that, right? I mean, he's really good against the blitz. He's really good on third down. He's good against pressure. I mean, there's things that he was effective in. but things that franchises look at for elite quarterbacks, he didn't have them a ton. Now, you look at a guy like Jaden Daniels, right? He had a 20.2% pressure to sack rate when he won the Heisman. That's not as far off, but Jaden Daniels is athletic. Jaden Daniels has a bigger arm, a more accurate arm. You saw what he did in his first year. And then there is the accuracy, and you look at Shedeur's accuracy, he had a completion percentage, an adjusted completion percentage of 81.8%. That was third best in the FBS. So that tells you, wow, that's really incredible. The third best accuracy percentage. But then you look at the average depth of target, the ADOT, it's at 8.1 yards. That was 129th out of 156 qualifiers. So a little bit of an inflated stat. And you just kind of look at the arm strength. It's not explosive. So I'm not overly surprised by this, because then you add the, he's Deion's son, and he has never been coached by anyone other than his dad. So he's going to have a lot of different coaches in his ears. So I think he's polished. I think that he is someone that I think has a chance to be a decent NFL quarterback. But I think Thursday really pointed out that there are some lingering concerns. I mean, I can just tell you from talking to scouts, from talking to people that do this for a living as far as evaluating players, is the arm strength that he has. That is the biggest cause for skepticism when it comes to Shedeur Sanders and if he's going to fit inside of a pro system. So, I mean, you see all this draft. Teams they are favoring athletic upside, and he didn't have a ton of that. Now, like I said, I mean, 1.3% turnover-worthy play rate, that's really good. A 90.5 passing grade, that's really good. I think that he has a chance, but you look at the size, lack of athleticism, doesn't have the biggest arm. I don't know why people are shocked about this. I really don't know why, but I give him credit because last night, wasn't fun. You know that he just wanted to hear his name called, and he didn't, but he did address the people that were in attendance for his legendary party and his brand, and here's what Shedeur Sanders had to say.
We all didn't expect this, of course, but I feel like with God, anything possible, everything possible. I don't feel like this happened, for no reason. All this is of course, fuel to the fire. And under no circumstance, we all know this shouldn't have happened. But we understand we're on the bigger and better things. Tomorrow's the day. We're going to be happy regardless. Legendary. Ooh.
So I love the mindset there. This is fuel to the fire. Let this fuel you. Tom Brady was drafted with the 199th pick, and he's the GOAT, okay? So you're not ultimately always defined by your draft choice. If he gets into a right situation, I still think he can have success in this league. I just don't think that teams viewed him as a top-level prospect. But by the way, I just love his brother, Shedeur Sanders. I just love the attitude of the Sanders family. I know some people, it's not their thing. For me, I don't think that the draft evaluators were basing their sole opinion on him based on Shedeur Sanders, the brand, the person, the link to Deion Sanders. I think the Sanders family, show me one thing they've done wrong. Show me one thing they've done wrong other than go out there, be really, really good football players, and be really, really good for the sport. Here was his brother, Shedeur Sanders. He had me cracking up with this.
See, bro, I don't even know what they're going to do with me, bro, because they're doing you like this. Selfish ass. They doing him, making him wait. Oh, buddy, me? Oh, hey, you good, bro? You good? You just going to the best team.
I just love that. I love that. Your brother, he's got your back, and that's definitely what you want in this situation. So, yeah, I mean, you look at now, and that's kind of the biggest question for Shedeur Sanders is when you look at landing spots, will the Browns take a chance at him? Will other teams? I mean, you look at the Browns, Well, they traded back to get Mason Graham, and the Jets and the Saints they took top 10 offensive tackles. So the Steelers, they focus on the other side of the ball by taking Derek Harmon. So it makes you wonder, in the second round, where will he end up? I mean, I think there's a world. I mean, last year, you didn't see that in the second round, quarterbacks getting selected. So I think there is a world where Shedeur Sanders doesn't even get drafted today. So that's scary for him. But I do think with the 33rd pick, the Cleveland Browns, I think that there's a decent chance that they select Shedeur Sanders. They made the trade yesterday. They have the picks to try to make a move for Arch Manning and put themselves in a good position for him. But they have that terrible contract with Deshaun Watson. They realize that to change your franchise's future, you want to be able to add in the draft at the quarterback position. So, look, I mean, Jackson Dart and Shedeur Sanders, they're very close as far as QB2 and QB3. If Cleveland can use the extra picks they got on Thursday to rebuild other areas, that will give Shedeur Sanders time to grow, time to learn the offense and be a better fit. So that is my guess right now. And if it's not, I mean, the Saints at 40, they could take Tyler Shuck out of Louisville. So that's another possibility. The Jets at 42, they could take Jalen Milroe out of Alabama. So there are teams that they absolutely need to go out there and get a quarterback. So I expect him to be the first quarterback taken. I'd be shocked if he wasn't. I know Jalen Milroe definitely has a ton of upside, but I think that Shedeur Sanders, he gets taken today. And I think it's going to be by the Cleveland Browns. But how about this? How about this crazy moment? What's up with the Kelvin Banks family? Check out how this baby's throwing up after he got selected. Look at this. Hey, I don't know if he's not a Saints fan or what that is, but Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas, offensive lineman, he throws up, and kind of a hilarious moment. And how about this? Another thing I want to show you that really stood out to me, the best of NFL draft social media, is how about this Giants fan who predicted the Giants' strategy?
First round.
Yes, sir.
And
We have two third-rounders.
Andrew, Giants fan, you guys are in the market for a quarterback.
Yes, sir.
Right now on FanDuel, the odds of Jackson Dart is like minus 135. Shedeur is minus 110. If you got a quarterback, which quarterback are you taking?
Jackson, there's a fucking dirt in your neck. Yes, sir.
You'd want Jackson Dart?
Yes, sir. Not at 3, though.
Not at 3. Who do you want at 3?
Trade back. Shit. No, trade back into the first. So you
Where?
take Abdul Carter. Abdul Carter.
Abdul
And
Carter.
you trade back in.
Trade back into the first round.
Yes, sir.
And
We
then
have two
get Dart.
third-rounders. Two third-rounders. So you still have a third-rounder. You lose your second-rounder.
So you take 1/3, 1/2, go
So
trade
number-
up for like 31.
1.3, Abdul Carter.
Okay.
And then you have back into the third round. Trade your second, one of your thirds. All right, get back into the first round. Right? Been drinking. Does that sound right? Does that sound about
That
right?
sounds great.
That checks out.
It checks out.
It checks out. Math
Fuck
checks
yeah.
out.
Let's go.
Giants.
Let's
Two
go.
first-round
The
picks.
New York Football Giants. Let's go.
Let's go.
Get my man a job in the front office. My man knows ball. But let's get into the grades, starting with Cam Ward out of Miami, a former no-star recruit, quarterbacked the Washington State Cougars and goes to the U. The Titans take him with the first pick. And I give this a B. It's a B just because, yes, he was the best quarterback in the draft. Wasn't the strongest draft for quarterbacks, but that is the most valuable position. But for me, I would have taken Travis Hunter at that pick because Travis Hunter, he's the one guy in this draft that you could say that's the potential to be special. I hate the term generational. It's thrown out too lightly these days, but every now and then there is a guy that you can use that word to describe him, and that is Travis Hunter. And Cam Ward could end up being a really good quarterback for the Tennessee Titans, but he's really good. I don't think he's great. I don't think he has the potential to be elite, and they could have taken a quarterback next year. But still, it's a B because if it works out, it is the most important position. And then at number 2, the Jaguars take Travis Hunter, wide receiver, cornerback out of Colorado. Now, this is the move that I think a franchise like the Jaguars needs to make. Hunter is a superstar, the Heisman Trophy winner. He's the best player in the draft. Look at any draft grade, any big board, he's the most talented guy. Did they give up a lot to get him? Sure, they did. They gave a lot of trade capital to go out there and get. The price was very high, but that is the price that you have to pay to get a talent like Travis Hunter. The Browns, they traded the number 2 overall pick, a 4th-round pick at 104, a 6th-round pick, number 200, to the Jags, and the Jags traded to the Browns the number 5 overall pick, a 2nd-round pick, number 36, a 4th-round pick, number 126, and their 2026 first-round pick to the Browns. So that definitely is a blockbuster trade. That's definitely a lot, especially for an organization like the Jaguars. We got Cohen. You got a 34-year-old GM, James Gladstone. And, yeah, that's a lot for a organization that hasn't even seen these players on the field collectively as a group. But still, I think that is the inspiration and being around Les Snead. Because the Rams, the motto was F them picks, and that is the mentality that landed the Jaguars Travis Hunter. And I think that is the mindset. Even the Jacksonville Jaguars, they tweet out blank them picks in a dead emoji and a hashtag Duval. So this is what Gladstone said about the pick. I probably got some familiarity with the F them pick sort of process. So for our fans, I'll tell you, don't be scared. This is something I'm uniquely positioned to navigate, and we ended up bringing Travis Hunter to Jacksonville. And with that, he is somebody who is deserving of a first-round pick as a wide receiver and is worthy of a first-round pick as a corner. Certainly looking forward to each of those elements showing themselves over the next few years while he's under his rookie contract. But we're excited just about getting him in the boat, so to speak. So that says a lot right there. A first-round pick as a wide receiver, first-round pick as a cornerback, and you get that guy into your building, a player that is not going to come around very often. And that is a big-time opportunity to make a bold move, and that's what they did. They said that, hey, if there's a bold opportunity, we're going to do it. We're not going to flinch. And they did just that. He also had this to say about Travis Hunter. He's got a great feel for the game itself. When he's on the offensive side of the ball, finding zones in the defense, he's got really good ball skills. He can do something with it after the catch. Then on the defensive side of the ball, he finds it. And that's ultimately what we're trying to do here. It's continue to find people that can help get our hands on the ball on the defensive side and go impact the game that way. Love this move. I know some people are saying out there that this is not the right move, that they gave too much to get him, but this is a franchise-changing move potentially for this Jaguars organization, one that has never won a Super Bowl, one that is trying to become relevant, and then now you got a wide receiver one in Jacksonville, and then you got a CB1 that can play wide receiver in Jacksonville. So that, to me, is the biggest thing right there. You got Brian Thomas Jr., you got Travis Hunter, and I'm excited for this Jaguars organization. All I got to say is Duval. So he's primetime. Like, let's be honest. Shedeur Sanders, his dad's primetime. He's not. I mean, he's not Tuesday afternoon television, right? But he is not necessarily primetime. Travis Hunter is primetime. Travis Hunter is everything that you would want in a top draft pick. And look, he had the pink suit. He was dancing, had the Rolex on. I mean, this is absolutely the right pick for sure. For sure. So I give this an A+. Give it an A+ because of the upside. Then at 3, the Giants, they take Abdul Carter, edge out of Penn State. I'm giving this a grade A. I mean, they have dudes that can rush the passer on the Giants already. But when the Giants won Super Bowls, you had guys that could get to the quarterback, Michael Strahan, and a lot of those elite pass rushers. And Abdul Carter, he's someone that he's freakish. He could end up being the best player in this draft potentially. So I like that edge out of Penn State. I'm giving this an A. Patriots at 4 take Will Campbell, offensive tackle out of LSU. Giving this a B giving this a B. I mean, this is not necessarily that game-changing player. I mean, there's a lot of talk about Will Campbell and his arm length and that, but look, he was the best tackle that you could have picked up in this draft. So there's that. But I mean, I think if you're a Patriots organization, you could have probably kind of taken a little more from that. I mean, it's a drop off in talent from 1, 2, and 3 all the way to 4. But New England, you got something to help Drake May and someone that can protect his blind side. And Campbell, it's going to be, hey, if he can hang on at left tackle, even though he doesn't have that great length to handle kind of the rangier pass rushers, hey, well, that's going to ultimately determine it. But he's an All-American. He's had a lot of experience. So not the worst pick, but I'm giving it a B. Then the Browns taking Mason Graham with the 5th pick. I'm going to give this a B-. I think Mason Graham, he's strong, he's tough, and Cleveland, they are just down to the studs rebuild, trying to overhaul their entire roster. Of course, you got Deshaun Watson contract as a cloud over that organization. I mean, you could possibly have moved back more and get more picks. I think Graham, he's got a great motor. He's quick. He's strong. He had the highest PFF grade at his position at the college level. And it's definitely a solid move. I think he could be a foundational player, but I think that they need a little more quantity there. But I do think it's interesting that the Browns got multiple picks, and I think that if they don't take Shedeur Sanders tonight in the 2nd round towards the top, that, hey, they could be in a position where you got multiple first-round picks, and if you have a bad season, which most likely they are, that they're most likely going to be after Arch Manning or one of the top quarterbacks next year, the Drew Allers of the world, the Nussmeyers of the world. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do at that position. And then number 6, the Raiders take Ashton Genty. I'm giving this an A. I know some people don't love this move, but he was the runner-up to win the Heisman Trophy. He can create yardage by just slipping past would-be tacklers, using that speed and that strength. And I think when you look at Pete Carroll, right, I think of the Drake verse. I'm here for a good time, not a long time, right? They're trying to make a splash early. You have Geno Smith, you have Pete Carroll, you have Ashton Genty now, and we saw last year with Saquon Barkley how a running back can impact you. And I'm not saying Saquon Barkley or anything like that. And it's going to be very different to face tacklers in that division in the AFC West compared to the tacklers in the Mountain West. That's going to be an adjustment, but hey, the strength, the versatility, I like this move for the silver and black. I'm giving it an A. Then 7, the Jets take Armando Membo out of Missouri. I think that's a B. I think Aaron Glenn is trying to build from within, and that's what we saw in this draft. Is, look, teams can say what they want about position players, skilled players, and guys at different positions, but the draft is still where they build. It is built from the inside out. That is what teams do. You got 4 offensive linemen and 4 defensive linemen were taken in the top 15 alone. And the Patriots took Will Campbell, like we talked about, the Browns and Mason Graham. I mean, you look at that position, Kelvin Banks, and we'll talk about that is what dominates. One of my big takeaways from today is that teams still build their rosters from the inside out. And here's an example with the Jets and Aaron Glenn going with a lineman at that spot. So I'm okay with it too. I think that the Jets, they had to get a tackle to play on the right side. He fits that. I think that he's really raw, but the talent's there. I would take Kelvin Banks over him, and we'll talk about that. And then at 8, the Panthers, they took Ted McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona, and I give this a B-. Actually, I mean, he's the best receiver available. It's a little high. You want to get some help for Bryce Young. You have a ton of needs on the defensive side of the football. Look, Ted McMillan, I mean, he's not that explosive, right? I mean, he definitely has a lot of traits that are really, really interesting. But, yeah, I'm not loving this. And, I could probably downgrade that to a C. I mean, the Panthers, they finished last in the NFL last year in yards per play and scoring defense. So the team was 31st in pass rush win rate, So you go and get another receiver after you trade up for Xavier Leggett at number 32 last year. And then Dave Canales has already talked about wanting to give Bryce Young another weapon, so this was something that was pretty telegraphed. So if you think that Tet is that guy, then I totally kind of get it. Will he be? I'm not so sure. I think if I were the Panthers in that spot, I would have gone defense. I would have gone Jalen Walker, so I'm giving that a C. Then 9, the Saints take Kelvin Banks Jr., offensive tackle out of Texas. Think that this was a good move for them. I think this is a solid, I'm going to go B for this one for sure. A B for them with the Saints. You got an offensive line you need to rebuild. I mean, Trevor Penning, he declined his 5th-year option. The Saints, they now have a tackle to kind of pair with Talisi Fuaga, who they took last year. So I think that, like we said, you're building from the inside out, so I give a B there. And how about the Bears at 10, taking Colston Loveland, tight end out of Michigan? I give this one an A, because Colston Loveland, I think, it has the potential to impact defenses, like manipulate defenses and have an impact on his offense, similar to what we saw with Brock Bowers last season. I think he has that kind of talent. He's 6'5", he's pushing 6'6", 248. He's tall, and I love the fact that Ben Johnson now has another young tight end to work with. I mean, Sam Laporta had a lot of success with the Lions as a rookie, so you get a guy you can put in that role, a lot of schemes, a lot of packages for him, and you give Caleb Williams a major weapon right down the seam, big-time catch radius. So I love this. I think that this is a move that you could view as high. Some people had Loveland all the way down in the 20s. I knew he was going to get picked higher. I knew he was going to get picked before Tyler Warren, and he does, because he's rangy, he's athletic at that position, and we're seeing that position trend in the right direction. Then 11, the Niners take Mikael Williams, DE out of Georgia. I give this one a B. I mean, the Niners need to take a lineman. I think is a good pair alongside Joey Bosa, 6'5", 260. He's powerful. He's great against the run. It makes a lot of sense. You got Nick Bosa on one end. You got a guy that can step in right away, and you plug him in. And I think that with defensive coordinator Robert Saleh back, they're trying to shore up that defensive line and get back to being what they were when he was still there. And then at 12, the Dallas Cowboys take Tyler Booker, guard out of Alabama. I'm giving this one a C. You got new head coach Brian Schottenheimer. He's talked about building the team from the outside in, and they're going to focus on wide receivers and cornerbacks, defensive ends. But you go out there and you build from the guard spot. I mean, 6'5", 321 pounds. He's big. He can be a force. But, man, you had Matthew Golden, Texas wideout right there. You had Tyler Warren right there. You could give some weapons to Dak Prescott and put some alongside CeeDee Lamb. Don't love this pick. I'm giving it a C. Then the Dolphins take Kenneth Grant, D tackle out of Michigan. And, look, he's a guy who was double-teamed throughout his whole career at Michigan, 6'4", 331, big monster of a man. But, yeah, I mean, he has a lot of work to do. He's definitely raw. So this is a high pick, too. I'm kind of give this a C+. Then the Colts take Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State. I felt like this is where he land. Dallas Clark vibes a little bit, and I give this an A. I just think the tight end position right now, especially Tyler Warren's, who everyone thought was going to be the first tight end picked, a top 10 pick potentially. Now Chris Ballard, I think, makes a move, the general manager of the Colts, that was a great pick. I mean, he's elite at yards after the catch. I think that he's going to be an absolute safety blanket for Anthony Richardson or possibly Daniel Jones, but we'll see what he's able to do in year one. I think it's going to be a lot. I expect big production from Tyler Warren. Then 15, the Falcons take Jalen Walker, outside linebacker out of Georgia. I'm giving this one an A, because this was an investment on that side of the ball. Their pass rush has been below average for too long, and you had some juice down the stretch from that defense. You saw some improvements, but Jalen Walker, he can absolutely be a great blitzer. You got Jeff Ulbrich still there, and I like this move. I mean, he's disruptive, and he's still an off-ball linebacker. So this is just a move that I look at for a Falcons team that, hey, you got a young quarterback. You have Michael Penix Jr., you have Drake London and Bijan Robinson. You have some pieces on offense, but you really need to invest on that side of the ball. So I like this is a good spot for Walker. I mean, he's had a little bit of injury concerns, which led to him sliding to this part. But I think that, they need to upgrade on their pass rushing, and this certainly accomplishes that. Then the Cardinals at 16 take Walter Nolan, D-tack out of Ole Miss. I give this one a B, too. This is a B. You added Josh Sweat and Dalvin Tomlinson, and look, Calais Campbell. Look at that free agency. Josh Sweat, Dalvin Tomlinson, Calais Campbell, all in free agency, and then you still are pushing and bringing in Nolan. So he's disruptive. He's someone that, he's been inconsistent as an interior penetrator throughout his career, but I think that he's going to benefit heavily by playing behind Calais Campbell and helping him unlock that potential. Then the Bengals take Shamar Stewart, D-end, Texas A&M. I look at this one as a move where, hey, the Bengals, you needed edge help, and Stewart, he's definitely raw, doesn't have great instincts, but he's someone that has a lot of potential. You just want to see more production. I'm giving that a C+. The Seahawks take Gray Zabel, guard at North Dakota State. Give this a B because he's versatile, can play tackle, can play guard. The Seahawks, they were an abomination on their offensive line last year. So Zabel, he showed at the Senior Bowl that he belongs with the big boys. Even though he's from a small school, he's a big guy, and I think you're going to see some production out of him. And then at 19, the Buccaneers take Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver out of Ohio State. I'm going to give this a solid B. I think Egbuka, I don't expect elite production. I think guys like Ohio State receivers like Jackson Smith and Jigba and guys like that have higher upside, but he's so ready for a pro career. I mean, he's a plug-and-play, he's a turnkey player, someone that I think helps you in day one, and you put him alongside Mike Evans. You put him alongside Chris Godwin coming off the injury. I think it's a solid pick. I think as a player, this is a guy that kind of sacrificed a lot at Ohio State, playing behind Marvin Harrison Jr., and playing behind Jeremiah Smith and guys like that. But he's not this, he's 6'1", 202 pounds. He's not this big, fast, strong guy, but he's just really good at a lot of different things. He's very strong. I think that you see his ability to kind of find those soft spots against zone coverage and that strength. I like the pick. I think Matthew Golden would have been interesting, but Emeka Egbuka is a great pick there. Then at 20, the Broncos take Jahdae Barron, cornerback out of Texas. I give this an A. I really like Jahdae Barron. I think that you pair him with NFL Defensive Player of the Year, Patrick Surtain Jr., and I think you got two corners to go up against Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert and the talented quarterbacks in that division. So love this one. I think Barron, he's a pro. He's tenacious, can play outside after playing inside in the slot. So he's definitely versatile. I think this is a great pick. And then 21, the Steelers taking Derek Harmon, D-tackle out of Oregon. I give this a B. I mean, they need players, young players along their defensive line. I think passing on a QB made sense, especially the ones that were available. So, look, they love big dudes that can make plays along their line. He kind of looks and feels like a Steeler. Then 22, the Chargers take Omarion Hampton, running back out of North Carolina. I like this. I really do. They need to upgrade their running game. He's explosive, and that's something the Chargers didn't have last season. So Jim Harbaugh, he wants to run the football. Hampton, a really nice pick there. Then the Packers at 23 taking Matthew Golden out of wide receiver out of Texas. I love this pick. Matthew Golden, I think, can be a star. A 4.29 40, and the Packers, they've had injury issues at the receiver spot. So this dude can absolutely take the top off of a defense. He's explosive. The kid can fly. The Packers have not taken receivers in a long time. It's the first time since 2002 they had picked a receiver in the first round. So I love this. I think right behind Travis Hunter, he was the best receiver available in this draft. I have him in front of Ted McMillan because of that speed and potential that he has. Then 24, Vikings take Donovan Jackson, guard out of Ohio State. Jackson, he can play guard, he can play tackle. He really stepped up for Ohio State when Josh Simmons was injured against Oregon early on the season. The Vikings, you need to upgrade on the interior of the offensive line. Jackson can do that, and he's got great attitude. He's a leader. I like this pick. I'm giving it an A. Giants at 25 from the Texans. They take Jackson Dart, quarterback out of Ole Miss. I give this a C. I've done an in-depth breakdown of Jackson Dart, and he is really, really good at a lot of things, but he's not particularly elite. And Lane Kiffin's offense, kind of this style where you kind of get the ball out and you kind of go to your first couple reads. He's pretty mobile, but it's not like he's explosive on the ground. So, yeah, I think he could be a capable quarterback in the NFL, but I don't see him as a star. But it's late in the first round at the most important position in sports, so we'll see if it works out. Then with the 26th pick, the Falcons, after trading with the Rams, take James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee. This is a guy that, honestly, he has top 5 to 10 level raw talent. He's had some off-the-field stuff, but the Falcons get a guy that could be a steal. And they wanted Pierce Jr. for a reason out of Tennessee, and I think this could be one of the steals of the draft. I think he could give you top 10 level production in year one. Then Ravens at 27 take Malachi Stark, safety out of Georgia. A lot of range, a lot of versatility. I think I would have gone edge there if I were the Ravens, but hey, when you got a safety like that can impact the game like a Malachi Starks, I give it a B. Then 28, the Lions take Tyleik Williams, D-tackle out of Ohio State. You needed more depth and more help on the defensive line. Williams is someone that they talked a lot about his ability to just be that ferocious disruptor, a guy that can stop the run. He can kind of push the pocket from the inside. They need that for the Lions, so I give this one a B2. 29, the Commanders take Josh Connerly, offensive tackle out of Oregon. I thought he would go higher in this draft at one point. He kind of slipped a little bit. Shorter arms, but a lot of power and strength. I give this one a B. The Bills at 30 take Maxwell Hairston, cornerback out of Kentucky. Love this pick. Giving this an A. Corners did not go as high as it was expected. And this was the best cornerback, not named Travis Hunter. So the Bills, you need help at that position. He's aggressive. He is going to be an upgrade. I think he's going to be a day one starter for them. The Eagles at 31 from the Chiefs take Jihad Campbell, linebacker out of Alabama. I give this one a solid B+, a B+ that is fringing on A- because he's athletic. He can do a lot of different things. And you kind of look at a player like him, the pedigree of Alabama, where he comes from. And, I mean, Howie Roseman just going out there and making moves again. When Howie Roseman makes a move, you got to look at it a little closer. And this is, I think it's going to be a great move for them. I really, really do. I think you look at Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and the guys they've brought in on that side of the ball, and Jihad Campbell has great range, great athleticism. I think that he's going to be another feather in Howie Roseman's cap. And then finally, the Chiefs at 32, they take Josh Simmons, offensive tackle out of Ohio State. Now, the thing about Simmons, he tore his patellar tendon back in October, so that really kind of threw a wrench into his top-level stock. But this is someone that has been a high-end pass blocker for a long time. And after signing Jalen Moore, the Chiefs can kind of not rush him back into that starting role. So he's kind of a long-term solution, but I think they could have gotten a top 10 lineman at that position. I'm going to give them an A. But those are my draft grades. Those are my big takeaways, and we'll see what happens today. Will Shedeur Sanders get taken? But let me know down below in the comment section, what are your grades? What is your biggest takeaway? And what do you make of Shedeur Sanders not getting picked in the first round of the draft? My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. Subscribe to the channel. Would really appreciate that. And until next time, I'm out.